Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa,
Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
So we're here live in Trafalgar Square, Vaisakhi in the square, marking over 300 years since the Khalsa was first manifested. And we've had fantastic guests on today with us, Ravi Singh from Khalsa Aid, with Khalsa Fostering on, we have Flexing on recently. And now we got today Mandeep Kaur on as well. Vaheguru Ji Ka
Vaheguru Ji
Khalsa.
Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
And it's crazy because you've got a link to Khalsa Fostering, right? In terms of the Seva, helping, being part of starting the Seva. And this whole event we've got today, with Guru's grace, you're behind the organizing team as well, right?
Yeah, one of many people organizing today's event.
Yeah, but Ben, you're a very busy person, right?
Busy person. It's good.
Do you even sleep?
Sometimes. Maybe like once a week. No, I'm joking. I try and get my 8 hours in because obviously being part of the Sikh Games, I'm also health conscious as well, right? That you need to rest. And yeah, no, I do rest. But the thing is, you know what? When you realize that there are so many things to do and there's so much work to do and we've got such little time here.
Yeah.
Maharaj just gives you the energy to get things done. And Maharaj always just sends the Sevadars to support you on this journey. So it's all Maharaj's blessing, to be honest.
And the Seva that you are doing, we're going to speak about the Sikh Games just in a moment, but all the different types of Sevava that you're involved in with Guru's Kirpa, that they're fantastic. And you can see the effects that they're having, and they're reaching out to different communities or audiences or different styles. That you got sports, which is like in one respect very different to fostering, right? It's like two different ends of the spectrum, right? So before we go into more of the Sikh Games specifically, we're in Vaisakhi in the square. We're celebrating and we're marking the Khalsa, the birth of the Khalsa. Like anything you want to say on that, just the kind of the principles of the Khalsa and how it links to all the great Seva you've been blessed to do recently.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, obviously we all know millions of Sikhs around the world are celebrating Vaisakhi. It is one of the most celebrated Sikh festivals. The foundation of the Khalsa, also, Khalsa Sajana Divas, the identity of Sikhs.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I think for myself it's the representation of what it means.
Yeah.
The fundamental values about having an identity whereby you're recognizable, but also standing up against tyranny and oppression, and that responsibility that we hold ourselves as individuals to actually ensure that we're not just representing Sikhs. In everything that we do, it is actually making sure that the kind of leadership that we create benefits humanity as a whole. When we think of the Khalsa, we don't think of, Sikhandi Fauj. We think of Akalpur Ki Fauj.
Yeah.
And that is who we basically serve.
Anji.
And yeah, when you think of that responsibility, why would you not, carry on with the Seva? And obviously being here and being part of Vaisakhi London, I think it's now 10 years since I've been part of this Seva. And really, I came in at a time where the event was very much a cultural event. There wasn't actually the Sikhi element. And I came in to try and steer it in the direction of where the Panthic organizations could also get involved in the project to utilize this opportunity. Because I often think culture is one of those things that brings us back. It talks about the caste system. It talks about, a hierarchy where men are, supposedly in this Punjabi culture, more superior to women. Yeah. But then sometimes, as Sikhs, when you take all of that away and you think, we have such amazing foundations laid by our gurus, and it would be such a shame to have in such a landmark location in the capital city, in one of the greatest cities in the world, to be able to celebrate Vaisakhi and actually share vichar on why Sikhs celebrate Vaisakhi and what Vaisakhi means to Sikhs. Because obviously Vaisakhi is something that's celebrated by many communities.
Yep.
But to be able to highlight why Sikhs celebrate Vaisakhi and what it means to us, and to remind ourselves and those that may not know what our responsibility is as Sikhs to society as a whole, is really, really important. And it's just such an honor to be a part of this Seva.
No, well, thank you for including us in this Seva as well. We always appreciate it. And if we bring it more towards the Sikh Games now itself, what are the Sikh Games, right? And why did you guys start this fantastic Operalla?
So the Sikh Games is not a new concept, so we're not going to take, credit for creating the name or anything like that. The Sikh Games was actually something that I'd heard about many years ago from my own family that lived out in Australia. And every time we would get on the phone to them, they would say, when you do Raji Kushi and ask about this relative and that relative, they would say, oh, we met them at the Sikh Games, or we're going to meet them at the Sikh Games. And I used to sit there and wonder, what are these Sikh Games and why don't we have them in the UK? And in reality, I really wanted to. I went to a sports college myself, was always into sports. My mum was a runner. My dad was a kabaddi player and a weightlifter. So we'd grown into sports. That was part of our lifestyle. We would do our Saturday morning weekly park runs from a very, very young age. And I used to just hope that some Uncle G comes one day and sets the Sikh Games up and I can actually go to the Sikh Games and compete. And then lo and behold, I end up being the Uncle G that sets them up. I didn't realize that this was going to happen. And to be honest, it's quite funny because I asked, and obviously through my Seva connections with, Shepherd's Bush Gurukar, this Vaisakhi London project and everything, I knew so many people. And I would actually go to them and say, can you set up the Sikh Games? I'll tell you what the strategy is going to be. Can you just set it up? And it just didn't work and it was actually my father that encouraged me. And he said, and I said to him, I said, it's such a great idea. I don't know why nobody's taking a hold of it. Like, it's such a great seva. And he said to me, he goes, Putra, tanu driver's seat bena bena. You have to sit in the driver's seat. And he goes, and because you're the one that knows where you want to take it, you're the one that knows what that destination actually looks like at the end. No one else is going to be able to recognize that. So I hate to tell you, I can tell you the same thing 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line, but you just have to sit in the driver's seat and move it forward yourself. And to be honest, that changed the conversation completely, because I remember having that conversation and then going into the other room, and through basics of Sikhi actually, I'd met Navjot Paji. So then I literally went into the other room, picked up my phone, called Navjot Paji, and I said, there's a project that I'm thinking of doing, the Sikh Games. And the first time I got a yes, because it was like, we're joining you on the journey, right? To be honest, after that conversation, it's been incredible. We're doing plans. And again, this was one of Navjot's ideas, to actually do the global Sikh Games as an Olympics. Wow. That's something that the Jewish community do. But before we get to that step, of course, we wanted to build the momentum and to start something in the UK. So here we are doing the Sikh Games, encouraging the community to get fitter and healthier, encouraging the community to actually come together over a platform. Because what you find is, when you have like dharmic events, often you find it's the people that are very much connected to the faith that will go to the dharmic events. When you do a cultural event, it'll be very much people that are more connected to the culture, less to the faith, that will go to those events. However, sport is one of those things. It has such a unique power in bringing everybody together. Yeah. There's no judgment. You're working as teams to build, and with the grace of Maharaj, we've got over 600 volunteers. Wow. The core team is over 100 strong. We represent in across 35 different regions, and the values again are very much connected to the actually 1699 and the names of the Panj Pyare.
Okay.
And that has always been the foundation.
Wow. And going to 600 strong with Guru's Kirpa and a core team of 100 people. You mentioned earlier, Benji, that your father gave some really important advice.
Yeah.
That you have to sit in the driver's seat. Just focusing on that for 1 second, the idea of the cars are standing up.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to people out there? Because there's so many fantastic ideas out there that people have.
Yeah.
But who's going to sit in the driver's seat?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we may not want to sit in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
We just wait for someone else to do it and we'll tag along.
Someone's going to do it.
But most of the times it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to people out there who are umming and ahhing about sitting in the driver's seat?
Yeah. I think, to be honest, as Sikhs, one of the things that we've grown up hearing very much is Bekcharasi Lakajuna. There's 8.4 million types of species. And out of all of those species, we've taken the human form. What we don't realize is we have so much power in this human form to bring about change if we really put our mind to it. And I just think of myself as a girl, fairly short little girl from Southall, you know, come from humble beginnings. You know, we somehow, you know, Maharaj gives you this bakshish, but you have to also listen, because sometimes what you find is that you think you can't do it, but then Maharaj puts all the signs in front of you. They showcase to you all the problems that exist out there. Very much like when, for example, like Khalsa fostering, all those signs are there that there's issues there. But remember, those issues have come to you, and those signs have come to you because there is an expectation, I feel, that you're meant to do something with it. And it doesn't necessarily mean, like, for example, when setting up Khalsa fostering, I set it up within 48 hours. There's a huge issue that had come about. I was literally sat on a train and we just managed to just get it off the ground. But I knew at that point I didn't have any expertise in fostering. I needed to make sure that we found the sevadars that actually were going to be able to take it forward, that had the right expertise.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's what it is. You set something up and you do the call out.
Yeah.
You do the call out, and holly, naldi, you know what happens? Everybody else starts reaching out to you. So within the first couple of weeks, we had one of the girls reach out to us that actually went through care herself.
Okay.
You know, and then that team grew and grew and grew to a point where we were able to build a board, build a website, set up on their strategy, get them the initial funding, get it off the ground, and then say to them, right, you guys are going to now be in the driver's seat. You know how an executive board meeting runs. This is how you take notes. This is how you do this. This is how you do this. Run with it, but we're right here behind you. And sometimes you need to do that because physically there are not enough hours in the day to take on everything yourself, Hannah.
Yeah.
Because I'm also, let's not forget, I'm also a full-time lawyer. So on top of all of that, there's that which you have to also stay true to, because you have to, jodi kirta karni hai, you know, you have to do it honestly. You can't go to work and not be doing work and be doing all of this stuff. So you have to do it at the other end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to be able to do that. But very much, you know, with the Sikh Games, it's been such a great learning journey, because through the Sikh Games, we've learned how much other issues that arise out there. And to be honest, the impact of projects, you also don't know until you're on the journey as well. So it's just been, honestly, a phenomenal journey. It's growing every year. We've got more and more sports, hoping for a Basics of Sikhi and Boss TV team this year.
What are the different sports? So
We've got team sports, we've got football, we've got hockey, we've got cricket, and we've got netball. And then individual sports, we've got quite a few, and let's hope I don't forget them. And so we've got track, so you've got all the different races in track. You've got cycling, you've got wrestling, you have got golf, you've got badminton, and did I say tennis?
You did
Tennis. So that's our 11 sports for 2026.
Wow.
And we've literally just gone live at around 11 a.m. today before the event started.
Wow.
For that. And we've also now launched the Sikh Sports Awards.
Okay.
Because again, on this journey, we realized that there are so many organizations that have been working for so many years, like real, you know, unheard heroes within our community that have been doing so much seva to help their local communities get fitter and healthier. And it's just so nice to be able to actually celebrate them and bring them part of this journey with the whole Sikh Games as well.
And for those that are watching this that might want to take part in the Sikh Games as an active member or as a sevadar, volunteer, how can they get involved?
Yes, so one thing to remember is that the Sikh Games are a completely not-for-profit. So every single one of us does Nishkam Seva. So it's a community project which is made by the community for the community. So whether or not you want to get involved in terms of giving us your feedback, because every year when we grow the sports, we do them according to your feedback. Whether or not you sign up to compete, whether or not you come as a spectator to support, whether or not you come in as a sevadar, whether or not you come in as a sponsor, whether or not you come in as a partner organization. Because I know Basics of Sikhi, especially with our first year when we started, you guys partnered with us to do the Prachar element as well. Whether you come in as a partner, every single one of us is encouraged to be a part of this project because they belong to you as much as they do to me. 300 years down the line, when we're not even sat here, this project should be sustainable and it should grow year on year. But that's only going to happen when the community also take the step forward to get involved and kind of take that leap.
Kirpa, so where can they get involved
Oh,
specifically?
yes. So you can go on the sikhgames.com, the sikhgames.com. It's online where the sign up is. But if you have any questions, the Sikh Games social media platforms are there for questions. You can drop us an email at info@thesikhgames.com. We'd be more than happy to kind of support you with and answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. And the final question before we finish off, what was your biggest highlight of the Sikh Games? If you can think back in the last couple of years of Valley Game.
There's one story in particular. There was an Uncle G that signed up in the 2024 Sikh Games.
Okay.
And he was from Leicester. And he used to be a runner back in India. And when he heard about the Sikh Games, he's now obviously been living in the UK. He's had his children here and grandchildren. When he heard about the Sikh Games, he's like, I want to sign up. And he came to the 2024 Games. We're on the running track. He starts running, but then he's not trained for it. He thinks, okay, I'm going to just do it. And then, we help him out and we're like, okay, are you okay to carry on or should we get medical help? And he's like, no, I want to finish. So we're like, okay, we're just going to walk there. We're going to help you finish. We're going to walk there. And then that was 2024. In 2025, he did the 100-meter again and he ran. And then I said, Uncle G, you're just a completely changed person. And he said, yeah, I left the Sikh Games. I had a break for one day and then I've been in the gym every single day since.
Wow.
And this is the thing, right? The reality is, even though you think of the Sikh Games and all these projects as a one-off, it isn't a one-off. The life changes that it's going to make to the community, the impact it's going to make, you could have. And I'm sure Uncle G, very much like my parents and very much like most parents, have gone to the GP many times and they've been told that you need to get fitter and healthier. But I can tell you for sure, my mum only signed up to play hockey at the Sikh Games. Before that, none of it was happening. Nothing flies. But it's almost like this empowerment that they find that they've got a platform which is for them. They don't feel judged in that platform. They just feel like it's our platform to be able to do what we can. And that in itself is a step in the right direction.
Well, fantastic. And for this year, 2026, what day is Sikh Games taking place on?
Yeah, so the Sikh Games this year will take place in London.
Yeah.
And they will be from the 31st of July to the 2nd of August.
Fantastic.
At Brunel University and surrounding venues. So you can just get in touch with us about how you want to get tickets or how you want to sign up to them. And before that, we have the UK's first ever Sikh Sports Awards, which are taking place on the 4th of July at the iconic Twickenham Stadium. So that is another one definitely to have in your diaries.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Benji. Any questions from anyone for Benji? Hanji.
So basically what happens is with the Sikh Games, there's something that goes on live. So when we set up the first Sikh Games, we did them according to what we thought the UK Sikh community wanted. So we had 6 sports. And but one of the things that was happening when we would go out and do prachar, we would go to events, the community would give us a lot of awareness about what sports they're playing. So we had a lot of people saying, but we play badminton or we do wrestling and things like that. So what we do is we log that feedback, but you need to go onto the sikhgames.com, give us the details and any specifics. And that's why last year we added 4 sports and this year we've added 3 more sports on the back of that feedback, because the community is encouraged to not just keep their thoughts to themselves, but to really participate and actually tell us exactly. But that needs to be actually logged on, because it goes through the executive committee and it goes through all the motions. We need to then find out if we've reach out to people that can be potentials for running that tournament, organizations that are working in that tournament. So it helps us build a whole picture if you engage with the project in that way.
Chalo, well, thank you so much, Benji, for coming on. We'll put links in the description to the great work and to get involved in Sikh Games and also Casa Fostering as well, which again, we didn't mention earlier, but Benji was part of setting up as well, or setting up. He said in 48 hours. So thank you so much, Benji.
Thank you. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.